Rudy Bangle never planned to get a dog. On the outskirts of Zamboanga City in the Philippines, where he lived with his daughter Dina, he barely had enough money for food and shelter. But one day, coming home from work, he saw a bundle of fur near a garbage bin, a skinny dog with sad but attentive eyes. She didn't whine or run away. She just looked at him. "Well, who might you be?" Rudy muttered, reaching out. The dog slowly approached and touched his hand with her muzzle. That's how Kabang entered their lives. Kabang quickly became part of the household. She slept under the porch, accompanied Dina to school, played with Rudy's young niece Princess Diane Singh, and always met Rudy at the end of his workday. She seems to know the moment you turn the corner, Rudy's wife would laugh, pouring rice into Kabang's bowl. The dog was a mixed breed, with a curious star-shaped patch on her forehead. And in her eyes, there was always something unusually wise. December 17, 2011 began like any other day. The sun was already harsh as Dina and Princess headed to the local shop for bread. Kabang walked beside them, yawning, glancing around. They were crossing the street when a motorcycle came speeding around the corner. The driver didn't see the children. He was late and riding fast. In 1 second, tragedy was near. Kabang dashed forward, no sound, no hesitation. She leapt into the motorcycle's path, knocking it off course, a dull thud. Screeching metal, the girls were safe. The motorcyclist fell, scraping his elbow. Kabang lay in the dust, bleeding. The lower part of her muzzle was torn off, but she was alive. "Kabang!" cried Dina, hugging the dog. Their mother rushed over. When she saw Kabang, she froze. An ambulance arrived quickly, but not for the dog. Kabang was taken home. The wound was gruesome, but she was breathing. She lay quietly as if she understood. The children were safe. That was what mattered. Rudy didn't know what to do. They didn't even have money for medicine. The local vet shook his head. "We can't save her here. No one does this kind of surgery." He suggested putting Kabang down to end her suffering, but the family refused. "She saved our children. We won't abandon her," Rudy's wife said firmly. The story quickly spread through Zamboanga, then across the country. Newspapers wrote, "Dog saves children at the cost of her own face." People brought medicine, food. Volunteers took photos of Kabang and posted them on Facebook. One such post reached Dr. Joanne Chow of California, a veterinarian. Joanne contacted Rudy. She was stunned. "We must save her. I'll find a clinic and funding." Thanks to donations from around the world, they raised enough for travel and surgery. In San Diego, Kabang was examined. It turned out she also had cancer and a parasitic disease, but she wasn't abandoned. A team of surgeons at UC Davis performed multiple operations. They removed the cancer, stabilized her face, and closed the open wounds. Kabang endured it all bravely. She never growled. She simply looked with those same eyes. Doctors admitted, "We've never seen such spirit in an animal." When Kabang returned to Zamboanga, she was welcomed like a national hero. Children clapped, neighbors cheered Mabuhay, long live. Kabang looked unusual. She had no nose, but her smile remained. She chased after the kids again, though slower now. Her life had changed, but she hadn't. Kabang became a symbol of sacrifice. Her story was taught in schools. Veterinary clinics in Manila named rooms after her. An artist in Cebu painted her portrait and hung it in the city gallery. Even the president sent a letter of gratitude to Rudy and his family. "She was always just Kabang. She's not a superhero," Rudy would say. "Just our dog who did the impossible." Princess was now in school. Every evening, she'd lay next to Kabang and whisper, "Thank you for saving me." Letters began arriving at their home. From Japan, Germany, the US people wrote, "Thank you for keeping her alive. I cry every time I read about Kabang. She reminds us of who we should be." As the years passed, Kabang grew tired. She lay under trees more often, played less. But even in old age, her eyes stayed bright. When children passed by, she'd wag her tail. She knew it had all been worth it. On May 17, 2021, Kabang passed away, peacefully in her sleep. Without pain, the whole family was there. She lived a life of dignity, said Rudy. She earned her rest. At the spot where Kabang jumped into the motorcycle's path, a plaque was placed. The words were simple: Kabang, the dog whose heart was greater than her body. People passed by, left flowers, some prayed. After Kabang's death, her story didn't fade, it only grew. She was featured in documentaries, translated into dozens of languages. In Filipino schools, her name became a symbol of selflessness. In 2022, a children's book called Kabang's Heart was published. It was illustrated by school children. All proceeds went to help stray animals. Every page told not only Kabang's story, but reminded us of the courage it takes. Even if you're just a dog, Kabang reminded the world that animals are not just beings near us. They are capable of love, protection, and sacrifice without words. Without conditions, sometimes greatness lies in a simple choice to stand by someone when it truly matters. Kabang didn't save the world. She saved the children, and that was enough to forever change the world around her.